Today I'll be going through the differences between the BBS02 and the BBSHD and the different power levels and the sizes it comes in. We'll also be measuring the bottom bracket so you can measure your own bottom bracket and see which motor fits your needs best. And we'll be going through some pitfalls that you might face and the solutions to them. So I have this bike stripped. I took the pedals and the bottom bracket out. I did that to put a C/C motor on it, which we're testing at the moment. But since I had it stripped out, I thought I'd make a video on how to properly measure your bottom bracket and some of the nuances that come with that. So let's dive right into it. The BBSHD and the BBS02 are the two main DIY kits for mid-drives made by Bafang. The first one is BBS02, which is generally the lower powered one. It comes in 36 volts at 35 watts and 500 watts. And also comes in a 48 volts with 500 watts and a 750 watt motor. For different power levels, they come in a 68 millimeter bottom bracket, 68 to 73 millimeter bottom bracket. But there are adapters if you want to put it on 100 millimeter or 120 millimeter bottom bracket. The adapters right here, we carry these. This is the 100 millimeter bottom bracket adapter for the BBS02. We do carry the 120 as well, but we're out of stock at the moment, so I can't show you. For the BBSHD, they're a 1,000 watt motor peaking at about 1,500 watts of power. They come in three sizes, 68 to 73, which is this motor right here. So the shaft fits a 68 to 73 millimeter bottom bracket. If you want to use a 73 millimeter, you need to use longer bolts on the locking nuts, which are M6 20 millimeter bolts with some spacers to cover the gap. If you're not sure exactly what all these measurements are, that's okay. I'll go through them in more detail. And the next one would be the 74 millimeter to 100 millimeters, which is this motor right here. So everything else is the same, just the shaft is longer to cover the longer bottom bracket. With the 100 millimeter, if you have a 100 millimeter bottom bracket, you might face an issue where once you put it in, the chainring is going to hit the chainstay. If that's the case, this sometimes happens in some of the 100 millimeter bikes. If that's the case, you might be able to fix that with putting a smaller chainring on, or you can be on the safe side and just go with our 120 kit, which is even longer shaft. So this will fit on the 120 millimeter, 101 millimeter to 120 millimeters. And sometimes even it's necessary on the 100 millimeters. So you can put some spacers here and space the motor out. So there's more room for the chainring to come on there. For the spacers, we carry these 2 millimeter spacers. So they come in a stack of 4, so about 8 millimeters. They're about 2 to 2.5, so they're between 8 to 10 millimeters when you stack 4 of them. And if you're putting 100 millimeter on 120, then you'll need 2 packs, so about 8 rings. And they go on like that, and then you put the motor in there. And next, I'll show you how to actually measure your bottom bracket once you have your cranks and your bottom bracket pulled out. If you're not sure how to pull them out, I'll put the link on the top right corner of the screen, so you can refer to that video to extract your bottom bracket. But there's 2 main measurements that you need. First one is your width. So the numbers I was referring to when I said 120, 100, and 68 millimeters refers to the width of your bottom bracket. For this, you want to measure the painted area this way. So, I mean, the most accurate way is going to be a caliper if you have one. So the battery's dying, so the screen's a little light, but this is a 73 millimeter bottom bracket. And you can measure with the tape as well. So you can not sure if you can see in the screen, but it's right after 7, 1, 2, 3, yeah. So 7.3 centimeters, which is 73 millimeters. So again, with the 73 millimeters, you would use the 68 millimeter kit with the longer bolts to put the locking nut on. And the second measurement is you need to measure the diameter of the inner diameter of the bottom bracket. Again, with the caliper, zero it out, and then it's a little awkward angle, but that's 33.7, so which comes to about 34 millimeters, and that's what you're looking for in the bottom bracket. The Bafang motors are designed to work with the 34 millimeter inner diameter. So there's a bunch of different kinds of bottom brackets out there, but the two main ones are the standard threaded bottom bracket, which is this one. You see there's threads here. So if you have this kind of bottom bracket, more than likely you'll be okay. The motor will just slide through and you're good to go. Sometimes the threads are too high and you'll have to shave them down slightly, or use a drum roll to shave them down. We have seen that, but I would recommend using caution because you can destroy your bottom bracket and destroy your bike. So just use caution on that and do it at your own risk. The second type of bottom bracket that we see is the press fit bottom bracket. Generally with the press fit bottom brackets, you need a special adapter. The press fit bottom bracket is generally 41 or 42 millimeters wide in diameter. So with those, the motor will be too loose, so you need a special adapter that we do carry. I don't have them with me at the moment, but I'll put a link to it in the description below. And also one more thing that you might face is once you do get it fit in, your chain line might be off. And I did a whole video on how to fix that chain line using different chainring and chainring options. So I'll put that video in the top right of the screen as well. If you found this video useful, give us a like and subscribe to our channel. And I'll be putting the CYC motor on there next. So stay tuned. Have a good one.